this recording start. Okay. Okay, everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening. We want to reward those of you who came in on time. Know that some people will be coming in later, but we are very excited for this evening and want to make use of our time. So we want to thank you for joining us this evening. And because I talk a lot, I have something written. My name is Terry Moore, and I'm the Executive Director of the Decatur Prevention Initiative. We're a nonprofit organization that has provided substance misuse prevention and mental health promotion in Decatur since 1992. As one of the founding members of the Decatur Parent Network, and on behalf of the network's leadership team, I would like to welcome all of our members and friends with us virtually, or who may even be watching the recording. Now, a little bit about the Decatur Parents Network. Concerned parents and organizations formed the network in 2016 to help families support each other and help all our youth make healthier choices and avoid risky behaviors. If you're not currently a member, please consider joining us. There's no cost. The network not only provides information and opportunities to connect with other parents, but our members have also proven to be a great support to each other when hard times happen, which we know they will. Please know that we support our members even after their children finish high school. Most of our speaker series are recorded and uploaded onto our website and our YouTube channel, along with resources. Tonight's session will be recorded. Tonight's session is a direct result of parent feedback. The network is seeing more and more young parents attending our events, and we hope this topic addresses some of their needs, although it is pertinent for all families. Questions and comments will be held until, no, we're not going to do that. We are going to let you raise your hand or ask stuff in the chat as we go along. You can enter it in the chat, or you can enter it in the question and answer. We have both. And tonight we are very fortunate to have a volunteer speaker, Susan Morley. Susan is a Decatur business owner and a parent and a long-term member of the Decatur Parents Network. She can be found working with young people in the schools and in the community. She is also the mother of two young girls, one who recently graduated from DHS and one who's still there. It's your last year, right, Susan?
Last one.
She's also an avid tennis player and is really missing face-to-face events. She's been a strong supporter of the Decatur Prevention Initiative for many years. Remember, there may be information shared in the chat room. Our speaker is also available by email if you have any questions about tonight's topic. And also, just for whatever may come up, guys, remember that the Student Center is another wonderful resource for Decatur youth and families. Please remember to take our survey at the end and join us for our new offering. We're starting something new next week because we heard you guys, and we will now be offering monthly a virtual parent chat. And so that will start. The first one is starting next Monday at 7:30, and you'll probably be getting an email about that. So With that, I'm going to turn it over to Susan. And Susan, you can get started. I'm going to make you the host in just a minute.
Thank you. While you're doing that, I'm just going to say hi. I'm Susan Morley. And I am thrilled to be here. It's always been awesome working with the Decatur Parents Network, and we appreciate everything that DPI does for us. So, I'm a member, and I really miss the in-person coffee chats when we go to people's houses. Oh my gosh, we would just have coffee and little snacks, and it was just so nice. The best thing about it, Terry, was I knew that I wasn't alone. Like other parents were feeling the same thing I was feeling. And oh my gosh, it was so helpful. So real quick, I want to share my screen, but I don't see the ability to, like I did in the, oh, never mind. I found it. No, I don't. When we practice, I could share my screen, but it's not letting me now. Am I the host?
You are the hostess.
I'm the hostess with the mostest. So
I'm gonna reclaim it for a second and then give it back to you.
I got it now. I'm in it.
I just took you out, so we got to be more patient. Lesson to all of us, right?
Well, and y'all, we practice this. I just do want to say we did practice this, and sometimes that happens, but here we go. I'm going to share this screen, even though I'm showing you something I don't want, because I want to show you what I do want. That's the one that's graduating, if you can believe it. Okay. I think I need to go all the way back. Sorry. To the beginning. And here we are. So thanks for the Decatur Parents Network for inviting me here today. We're going to get right started. The topic for today is, can everybody see the screen? I want to make sure it just says that it's paused. Resume share. Huh.
I'm not seeing it.
Try again. Maybe I shared the wrong thing. New share. Let's try this one. I'm sorry, guys. We practiced and I thought it worked so well.
There you go.
Okay. Thank you very much. Where is your family going? So this came out of like Terry said, just some things that some parents had talked about they wanted to know. And then this is the topic that came out of it. So today, this is all about eliminating chaos. That's a little strong of a word, really reducing chaos, maybe I should have said, and having a calmer home by creating a family mission statement and a vision for each of your children. And we'll just go through this. And in the chat is just a one-sheet document that you can download from Dropbox, and just so you can follow along or use it later when you do this work. Okay. After this interactive webinar, and I do hope you'll pop in the chat, like somebody's popping in right now. Oh, David, you're so sweet. He's being nice to me because I had trouble. But after this interactive webinar, which means thank you, David, for doing the chat, Q&A, raise your hand. We want to talk to you. So I purposely, by the way, kept it short presentation so we could have a lot of interaction because, as Terry said, I do miss being with people. But know how you're going to learn how to get on the same page with your parenting partner. I mean, that alone, right? Stop all those fights. You'll also learn how to determine what your family stands for and what legacy you want to leave. And the last one is, oops, sorry, I'm pushing the wrong button. The simple process, and I'm going to give you that process today, to set clear goals for your children's future and what to do to help your children achieve those goals. Now, I do want to have a quick, anybody can pop in the chat. One quick technical question. Can you see the entire screen and there's nothing blocking the slides? Just put in the chat, let me know that. And then second thing I want to know is if you have a mission statement, then let me know. Okay, thank you, David. Pop in the chat if you have a mission statement already. So, oh, you know this one. I used to be a school teacher, so you know I've got to say, let's stay focused. Let's turn off all distractions. Multitasking, we think we are, we're really not. We're just not very efficient. So give yourself this 40-ish minutes. Just give it to yourself, or when you do watch the recording, really watch this and give yourself this time. You deserve it. So some of you may be feeling frustrated. That is understandable. When we're frustrated because you have worked really hard maybe to get your family on the same page, or maybe you're having a lot of fights with your parenting partner and that doesn't feel good. So it can be very frustrating. Maybe you feel confused because you read a lot of parenting books, or you've read the blogs, or you heard something in a parenting Facebook page, and it can be confusing because you don't really know who to listen to or what advice to follow. Sometimes you feel worried because if you can't kind of get it together with your parenting partner, or if you're a single parent, if you can't feel confident and get it together yourself, how is that affecting your children? So I see, by the way, if you put in the chat and you don't want me to say your name or anything, then you need to probably don't mention it. But I'm going to say somebody with initial TM because she chatted before I made that disclaimer. She said, yes, she has a mission statement. She says, can see all of it. They've done a vision board with words that represent their family values. Amazing. David doesn't have a formal mission statement, but he's been thinking about it. Oh, good. Well, you're going to love this. This is super fun. Okay. So I want to welcome everybody. These are the things that you're probably here for. You want to be on the same page as your parenting partner. You want to be clear on what your family stands for and what legacy you're going to leave. What mark will your family leave in the world? And you want to have a simple process for helping your children achieve their goals. So if any of that speaks to you, you are definitely in the right place. And thank you for being here. So the problem isn't that you're, I hear this a lot. My partner isn't doing it right. Oh, they're not going to do it right. I'll just do it myself. Oh, they grew up with military style parents, and I grew up with real permissive parents. So we just can't get together. That's not the problem. The problem is you haven't found a way to communicate effectively so that everyone in your family, including your children, is on the same page. And that's what we're going to do tonight using 3 simple pillars. The first pillar is purpose. What is the purpose of your family? So this is actually a pretty big question. When you figure this out, it's going to be very helpful. Obviously, it seems kind of intuitive that would be so. So it's going to really help you decide, once you figure out the purpose of your family, when it's appropriate to provide a consequence for misbehavior. And you'll even know what is a misbehavior, or just maybe acting silly, or developmental behavior. It can also be made into family agreements. Some people call them family rules. I prefer family agreements, but that's kind of later. And at the end, I'll give you something if you want to continue this work that you can download, or you'll get it in an email rather. But for right now, we're going to start with building that foundation for your family. What is the purpose of your family? So what I'm going to talk about now, and I'm sorry if you can hear, I guess it's a helicopter, but it'll be gone soon. Stephen Covey, I borrowed a lot from him. So I want to make sure you don't think I made all this up out of my own genius. As a school teacher, I'm really good at borrowing things from other smart people. So Stephen Covey, he said, a family mission statement is a combined, unified expression from all family members of what your family is all about, what you really want to do and be, and the principles you choose to govern your family life. So that's what we're kind of talking about today. So I want to point out that not just families have mission statements, but most businesses do. So Decatur Parents Network also has a mission statement. Their mission is to empower families by fostering communication among the parents and cultivating fun, safe activities for teens. Now, some of you don't have teens, and we specifically made this presentation with focusing on that elementary age kids. So thank you to DPN for stretching a little for us today. I personally,
there's some noise going on in the background. I don't know if everybody is muted, and I can mute myself as soon as we talk.
Oh, that was me. I'm sorry.
Okay, just letting you know.
Yep. You know what? I've got speakers on my thing and I'm moving around.
Don't.
I really miss speaking in person where I'm not going to touch my computer. I'll stop. Thank you. Okay. So DPN has a mission statement. I have a mission statement for my business. Most of you guys have mission statements as well. And it's really important so that you can stay focused and you don't get distracted by things that aren't important. So you want to ask yourself, and if you have a parenting partner, and if you're not married or in a current relationship, committed relationship with your parenting partner, you're separated, divorced, whatever, you can still do this. I mean, as long as you can have conversations. So this can be really, really effective. You're going to ask yourself and your partner, and I'm just going to talk through some things. You can come up with your own questions, but I'm just going to give some examples here. First question, I do love this one. What right now in our family, what's working well? And so when we start with what's working well, that puts everybody on a really positive note for a very productive conversation. So then you can ask, what am I doing that you really love or appreciate? Now, again, the tone is very positive, and you're starting with your strengths. And then you can ask, and this one, I'm going to tell you, some of these questions can be scary to ask. So don't worry if this is you, that you feel a little nervous too. Is there a way I can be a better partner for you? And sometimes we have to be a little thick skinned when those questions come, but this is a great way to have a really good conversation with your parenting partner so that you know what to avoid and what to keep doing. So then you can say, is there any improvements to be made? When we disagree, how are we going to disagree? How do you need to hear it? Probably at some point we've all done the love language quiz. We can kind of bring that into it if you want. You can bring in some financial conversations. The point is, this is not going to be a 5-minute while you're on your iPad and the game is on in the background and the kids are running around. This is, let's take a drive. Let's go, somewhere, and let's really have a nice long conversation. And it might take several conversations to get to where you want to be. You want to talk about traditions, maybe traditions that are really important to you, or traditions maybe that you've always done that you never really liked. You can decide not to do them anymore. So once you have this conversation, you're going to have a really good foundation for creating a mission statement. So then we're going to add in these core values. So Brene Brown does a lot of great work. And actually, you can Google Brene Brown and values if you dig this lady. She's a researcher. She's got a lot of good words, that are values. And so you can use her list. Google's a wonderful machine. You can use all sorts of people's. But here, I'm going to give you right now, just to give you an example of some things that might come up for you. So for some people who practice a faith or have spirituality, that might play a part. Those might be part of your core values. Your core value may be animals, and that you really want to focus on taking care of the animals in your community. That might be a core value of yours. Honesty, peace, civil rights, education, integrity, honesty, participation. These are all examples of values. And so then you're going to be able to put the core values together with the discussion that you had with your partner. Compassion, that's a great one, Terry. And then you're going to be able to come up with a mission statement. And so I'm going to share with you right now a mission statement that I 100% stole off of the internet, but I wrote down who I stole it from. So I hope that makes it okay. So there's a book called Marriage Clues from the Clueless, and I'm 99% sure the author of that book wrote what I'm about to share with you today. So these parents wrote this: our family mission is to value honesty with ourselves and others, and honesty right there is your value word. Create an environment where each of us can find support and encouragement in achieving our life's goals. Respect and accept each person's unique personality and talents. Anybody have a child with a unique personality here? Yeah. Some people call it annoying. I call it unique. And sometimes they grow out of it. How about promote a loving, kind, and happy atmosphere? I love that. Support family endeavors that better society. Be open to resolving conflicts with each other rather than harboring anger. And show gratitude for all that we have. So this is so good. It includes so many things. And if you like it, take a screenshot right now. Actually, I think it's on the document that Terry put in the chat, on the Dropbox document. You can use it for your own. Use that as a little cheat sheet. I like to say the key to a great family mission statement is that it can fit on the front of a t-shirt. So Terry and I like to, and so we have to have nice limits and boundaries around that. So I want to be clear one more time. This isn't like let's real quick do this. I mean, this is going to take a little bit of work and talking, and you might have some feelings of vulnerability, or and you might have some feelings of closeness. Like it can be really good, but it's really worth the work to dig in there and really think about these things. And it's okay if it takes a month, or you don't get to really have it kind of published or posted in your living room or something until the summer. That's okay. Give yourself time to get that done. Right now, before I move on to the second pillar, I'm curious, or I'd like to hear what questions you have or comments that you have about this family mission statement, or mission statements in general. Or even while you're typing anything in, if there are any comments or questions, I do also want to say, this is a great building block. So this eventually, when you share this information with your children, and everybody agrees, yeah, this is our family mission, and involve the children after you guys have kind of an idea of what your mission statement is. Bring the children in, explain to them at a level they can understand the family mission and what that is, and just have a discussion, include some things that they say in there. So, because it's nice to go, like with, as a teacher, I always come in with a lesson plan. It doesn't mean that's what I actually teach that day because the children get involved, but I have a plan. So come in with a plan and then involve them and let them partake and participate in the process. So once you do that with your children, and this is the best part, when they're misbehaving, let's say they're fibbing about something, you can say, right now, how you feel you're doing on valuing honesty with yourself and others? How are you doing there? Or you can say, when they're misbehaving in another way, is what you're doing right now, is that promoting a loving, kind, and happy atmosphere right now for us? Now you're not having to go to your room and yell at them and scold them. You're just reminding them, in our family, is what you're doing right now. Are you open to resolving conflicts? This is our family mission that we all agreed to, but let's, check. And then you need to check yourself too. I'm telling you, if you put a copy of this next to your nightstand, and when you go to bed at night, just take a quick glance, do a little inventory. How did I do as a mom today in my family mission? Could have done better on a couple things. I'm human. It's okay. But you know what? I'm going to have that in mind for tomorrow. Maybe in the morning, take a look at it. Okay, this is my mission today. Yes, Terry's raising her hand. Oh, does it change over time? You know what, Terry, it's such a great question. Your mission statement absolutely might change over time. So I'm going to talk about it in a little bit, but nobody's perfect. And I'll bring this back up later, but when you have little children, your family mission is one thing. Then as they get older, things will change. So I do recommend that it could be a fun annual, like every year on our vacation, one of the things we do is we revisit our family mission. As they get older, it probably changes less for a variety of reasons, but it might change. Now, I will warn you, if it's changing a ton, if it's like, oh, this week it's going to be this and next week it's going to be that, I think you need to take a pause and go back and say, okay, maybe we didn't really do enough of the deep work on this and we need to try again. Because once you're on the same page and everybody agrees, yes, this is our family mission statement now, and you can hold each family member accountable, including ourselves, for furthering your family mission, there really shouldn't be a ton of movement in there until you all kind of get together and make a conscious decision to make some updates or changes. Okay, so our second pillar is about having a vision. And the vision is seeing what others can't see. So I like to tell a story about my one girlfriend who was getting married, and we were all there to help her. We were young, there was no money for a wedding. So we're DIY the whole wedding. And she was like, oh, we're going to do this with it. I mean, there was burlap, there were black ribbons. I was like, I just don't even know what's happening here. And I just did what she told me to do. And let me tell you, it was one of the most beautiful weddings I've ever been to. And I thought, oh, I need to stop judging before I see the end result, right? Oh, it was beautiful. She had a vision. I could not see it, but I trusted her and I did the next right thing. I just let her lead, and we ended up with a beautiful, beautiful environment. And so that's what you're doing for your children when you have a vision for them. They're not going to see what you see with your vision. That's okay. They're not supposed to. But if you're clear on your vision, then you can keep moving towards it. So here we go. We're going to use your imagination right now. Okay. So I really actually want you to do it right now. And if you're watching this on a recording, just do it right here with us. We're going to all take a minute. Okay. And we're just going to get comfortable where we are. All right. Now I want you to, if you're comfortable, just close your eyes just for a minute. And I want you to imagine your child at the age of 30. So you have multiple children, so just pick one right now, just whichever one you want to pick first. You're going to do this for each, but tonight we're just going to do one child. So imagine your child at age 30. And I want you to take 3 deep breaths, holding that image, what your child looks like, who your child hangs out with, what kind of job your child has. Visualize that 30-year-old child, now adult. Now I want you to wonder, when your child is 30, what do you want your child to be? See that in your mind. And then I want you to make a list, and you can do it in the chat right now or on a piece of paper in your little notes app. Now you can multitask on your computer, on your phone. You're on mute, so you can dictate it into your phone. 10 words or characteristics that describe your child. So take just 10 words that describe what you see when you imagine your child at 30. One little tip, I was doing this presentation and a parent said something that wasn't positive. And so I want to clarify that this is what you want for your child. This isn't like a time for your fears. Or worries. This is, oh gosh, when they're 30. And then just type those in the chat if you're comfortable. And I would love, even if you don't put all of them in the chat, if somebody just pop a few examples of what you see when you think about your child at 30 years old. It's I have a little, it's not a gimmick, but it's a test that I run every time I do presentations. And of course, I haven't done them live in a while, so I can't walk up to you individually and put my hand on your shoulder or give you a sticker to encourage you to participate. But I would love for you to put some in the chat. And then I've got a couple points to make about the responses. So I have 4 so far. So I'm looking for 6 more characteristics. You can just put 1 or whatever. Okay. So we've got, oh, this is so good. All right. Stable, calm, working, growing, integrity, compassion, focused on goals, happy, confident, kind, responsible, loving, happy, respectful, giving, loving, confident, loving, peaceful, supportive of minorities, patient, loving, compassionate, respectful. Oh, thanks, y'all, for participating. That's so helpful. So I want you to notice that nobody said Mary's a supermodel. Oh, here's one: college education, own their own business, community giving, sharing, faith in God, vision, joyful, family oriented. Right. Nobody said a millionaire. Now, own their own business doesn't mean they're, focused on money. It means they're working in a specific way. This is something that Dee wants. Smiling and healthy. Right. These are all of them are rooted in character. All of them. Own your own business. You got to have a lot of good character to do that. You're not going to be a schlub and do that, right? So these are all character-based words. And I make this point because all parents that I've done this so many times. The one exception was what I told you about, the one dad that was like, oh, incarcerated. I'm like, okay, wait, let me clarify. These are what we want. So they're all character-based words. So really the most important thing to us isn't straight A's. It isn't that they, have some level of adoration from others, that they are a movie star, or that they're they're famous for sports, or they married somebody who is deemed to be beautiful. It's all character-based. And so it's really helpful for us as parents that we understand, because there's a lot of pressure, especially now with kids in grades. There's a lot of pressure, and we can say, okay, is this the most important thing? And when we have that vision, it helps us stay focused on what is truly in our hearts, what we want for our children. Now, are we going to let our kids play video games all day and then fail in school? No, of course not. How are they going to get a college education if they can't even pass 6th grade math, right? So we do have to give them supports and hold them accountable for doing their work. But that's really doing the best they can do is about character, not ability. So there is a really good book. If this is like, wow, this is really interesting. There's a book by Carol Dweck, Dweck. She's a researcher, and she wrote a book called Mindset. So you may want to think about checking that book out of the library. It's really good. And it's not totally focused on occupation necessarily, but we do want people to feel productive and work. Like somehow, let's say your child is independently wealthy. You don't want them just bossing people around all day. You want them to do something, so it's not about money. So the greater danger for most of us lies not in setting our aim too high and falling short, but in setting our aim too low and achieving that low mark. So it's okay to have those higher expectations, to have that vision that they're going to have this kind of life, they're going to be this kind of person, adult. That's a good thing. So then the third thing, which comes back to that question from earlier, is practice actually makes imperfect. So we need to keep adjusting and recreating this work that we do with our children with the vision. So I want to touch a minute on a word that can be kind of scary to some parents: discipline. Now, when I use the word discipline, I'm not talking about punishments and rewards. I'm not talking about shaming or yelling or taking their phones away, or I'm not talking about any of that. I'm talking about teaching our children. So this workshop was really designed for parents who were in the second season of parenting, I like to call it. The first is when they're babies and you just revolve around them and you take care of their every need. Then there's a transition, the terrible twos. And now most of you guys are in this decade of discipline. So it's those like from about 3 to 13, where you're really teaching them right from wrong. No, we don't pull the cat's tail. Yes, we do take out the trash. Like, we are really, it's a busy time as a parent. You are very busy, and sometimes it feels like you're constantly supervising and managing and monitoring. And that's kind of part of it. And as they get older, you can let go a little bit. So during this decade of discipline, keep in mind and help your parenting partner keep in mind the vision that you have for each of your children. And what's interesting is your vision for one children may be quite different from your vision for the other. There are going to be some overlaps, but based on their personalities and just who they are, you may see some differences. And it can be quite interesting the way that kind of works. So I like to give this example. Let's say you have a firstborn child who is really responsible, always kind of noting if other people are misbehaving. They know the rules and they're not afraid to tell people they're breaking the rules. And if there's a teacher in this group, I know you have at least one of those in your classroom every single year. Little mommies, these are just like, that child, if that child forgot their lunch or a folder or an assignment, you might, even though you really want them to be responsible by the time they're 30, if that was one of your words, you're probably going to take it to the class, to the school. This is not a regular thing. Your child doesn't have a bad habit of forgetting. This is not a careless child. We all make mistakes. There's no real lesson for this child to learn by saying, nope, you just got to suffer. Sorry, that's a consequence. It's a natural consequence. It's not really that helpful for that child. And the vision helps you understand that about your child. Now, let's say you have a second born or the baby of the family, maybe, who you swear if their head was not attached to their body, they would lose it, right? This is, oh my gosh. Now, this child, no. Now, by the way, in either case, if you're working and you can't take the assignment or lunch or whatever it is they left to school, then yeah, that's just the way it is. But if you're available, and some of us kind of are now more because of Zoom and all that, go ahead if it's not if it's not a problem for you. But anyway, the second child, you might think, yeah, I could take it, but this kid always forgets stuff. I am not helping my child reach this vision of being responsible by enabling the behavior by bailing them out. So that's just one example of how having a vision for your children can help you make decisions on discipline, consequences, and just the next right action to take. And when your parenting partner is on the same page with you, then you get to call them or text them and be like, all right, Junior forgot this again. What do I do? Well, remember, our vision is this and our mission is that. I say, no, we don't bail them out. Okay. And then you can really be in that united front. And wouldn't that feel better than one parent, you bail them out again, and then there's a fight and nobody likes that. So after all that I've said, the most important thing that you need to remember is that you are the expert on your family and your children. You is plural if you have a parenting partner. So you know best. The blogs, the books, the memberships, the Decatur Parent Network coffee chats, and I hope you do go, you'll meet other parents and you'll hear what they're doing. You are the expert on your family, and what works for them might not even come close to working for you. So I just want to keep, remind you of that. I have a blog post that's like, I don't know, it is like the most popular blog post ever that I've ever written. I mean, just crazy gangbusters. And the topic is how to avoid competitive parenting. I think I've really hit a nerve there, because it does feel like, and I don't know if, I know that for me as a mother, the competition of being a good mom is fierce. It is fierce. It's very, very tough. And it can feel like there's a lot of judgment and can hurt your feelings. I've been there. So the real expert is actually you. And that's one of the things when I work, I tell my clients, never substitute my judgment for yours, because I've got a lot of knowledge and I have a lot of experience, but I don't live in your home. I don't really get a vote. The parents do. So I want you to keep that in mind. So this really ends the meat of my presentation. And I kept it short so that, because number one, I never go long. But number two, I wanted to give an opportunity to have a discussion if people are comfortable, or to have people ask questions. And Terry, I don't know if you've been getting questions, that I wanted you to put them in the chat, or let's let people talk. You can also email me. I'm Susan@susanmorley.com. So, and then before we end, I want to tell you that tomorrow you can check your email. I'm going to send a link. Well, the Decatur Parents Network is going to send you an email. And in the email will be a link so that you can download this PDF. What we talked about today is step 2 of my 6-step process for families. It's absolutely free. And it's part of my 6 steps. So this is just step 2. So it talks about the season of parenting first, then this, and then there are more, ending with how to have fun family meetings, which is nice when you're trying to get all of this implemented in your home. So what questions do you have? And I can stop the share, Terry, so we can see if we have any questions. Would that be appropriate at this time? I don't know. I'll stop and maybe we'll just talk. Yep. And should I make you host? I'm the only one who can talk, apparently. More and make host. And you're still on mute, Terry.
And some people wish I walked around with that little button, just to say, Susan, this is some wonderful information, and really thought-provoking, in terms of what do we need to be thinking about in terms of where do we want our children to be. For some, for me, my children are older. And so it's like, where do I hope they are 5 years from now, 10 years from now, because they are adults. So but it's some great information to be thinking about. And I hear David saying that he's not even sure what to ask, but it's good information. Do you write the children's visions down somewhere? Do they know what the vision is for them?
You know what? That's such a good question. Now, all right, I'm going to tell you what I think. I think some people are going to, I don't know. Here's my opinion. No, you do not share it with your children. And the reason why is because they're not going to be able to see it. They don't have the perspective. They don't have the ability. They just need to be reasonably well behaved and be reasonably good listeners and be reasonably obedient. They just, when you say don't run in the road, they need to just not run in the road. When you say, I really think you should apply to this college, now you're going to have a discussion, because like this, this isn't their immediate safety. So there are times, especially as they get older, you have more of these kind of discussions about it. But this vision, it's really between you and your parenting partner, or just you if you're a single mom or dad. And you just need to know it. It needs to be here. I love everybody to write it down. Language plus motor equals memory. And that worries me about all this all the time and texting. Write it down. And if you can write it in cursive, your brain will remember it more. Elementary school teacher inside of me is never going to die. We're going to write it down. It's healthy, right? Good to write all this stuff down.
Now, I have a question, because I think you are talking about because I saw a comment from David, and then we'll hop down to Linda. But I wanted to make sure that we're all on the same page here. The mission family statement is definitely shared with the whole family.
Thank you. Yes.
Okay. So David, as you were trying to figure out, oh, I can't wait to start asking the kids about values. Absolutely. You're on the right page on that from what I think Susan was saying. And for some of you who've had kids in any of our programs in the schools, we actually do one program called All Stars that, and Miss Dee and I've done it for years, where we actually ask kids, you know, how do you want to be when you grow up? Not so much what you want to be. They're sick of that question, but how do you want to be? And they choose characteristics. And David, if you want to reach out to me later, I know you said you have one in 7th grade. That's actually something we're doing at Renfro right now. So your child may be getting that in connections. Mm-hmm. And then, Susan, I see that there was a question from Linda. Hi, Linda Miller. How are you? Do we need to include our children in deciding the family agreements? And she says, I'm talking a little bit about older kids.
Yeah. I mean, even 3-year-olds. I mean, you know, they're going to be running around and it's hard to even get their attention for 15 seconds, much less a time for a family meeting. But yes, totally. So the cool thing about family agreements, and check your email tomorrow, because when you click the link for the 6 steps, it really explains it in more detail. What you do is you have this family meeting where you're like, okay, what kind of family do we want to be? What kind of home do we want to live in? What kind of fun do we want to have? And then you ask, how are we going to have all that fun? Well, the dishes have to be done. We can't go to the park until the dishes are done. So we need to all participate, and so then you come up with 5 family rules where everybody participates in the creation of the rules based on the kind of family they want to be. But the pre-work is the mission statement and the vision with the adults. Share the mission with your kids, because they're the ones out there fulfilling it, really. And then you can adjust it as you go, but the family agreements come out of the mission statement. Everything comes out of that basic work. That's why I really wanted to talk about this today, because if you choose to do the work, you can really see how it's going to eliminate a lot of conflict in your family and arguing. It's great.
Okay, Susan, you have another, and I'm purposely not mentioning many people's names because that helps us not have to edit the recordings, guys, because we don't want your children to hear you talking about them. There is something in the chat that you may want to address, Susan.
Okay. Let me look at this. Okay, so this is a parent. Okay, thank you, DA. So V, I often struggle with coming up with consequences for some of my middle child actions in the moment. My son doesn't listen to me, especially when safety is concerned. Could you recommend some good consequences for spirited children? Oh, this is my wheelhouse. My clients they got spirited kids. Okay, I don't know the child's actions. So my recommendation, which you might think is weird, do not come up with a consequence in the moment. So what I think is happening, and I'm just guessing, is that there's a power struggle. So middle child does something, parent comes in, don't do it, middle child, try and stop me. So a lot of times that's what's happening, and there's a power struggle. So when you go back to that family mission statement, the one that you create, and you can say to middle child, your behavior right now, how are you promoting serenity in our home? You bring the mission statement to the child instead of stop doing that, blah, blah, blah. In the moment you could say, stop. Right now, this behavior, are you bringing serenity to our home? Look at our mission statement that we have on the wall right there. You feel like you're doing a good job of bringing serenity here? Or whatever the statement is that he's really not participating in properly. Now there's no power struggle. His, parasympathetic nervous system isn't on high alert, and it really helps prevent those fights. There are going to be times, yeah.
Something I was wondering there, because you mentioned safety, that maybe safety might be, or health might need to be a part of the, if you know that is a big kind of what those impending clouds that hangs over, that safety be a part of the vision of the family.
So thank you, Terry. Okay, what about this? When, let's say, middle child loves taking risks, loves the thrill of like parkour, wants to do all this stuff, and you're like, I am going to have a heart attack if my child keeps doing these dangerous things. I'm going to make it up, jumping off of furniture, whatever. So there's something in when you make some family agreements, like you can point it to the family mission statement too, but I would put something super specific in family agreements that we do not take unnecessary risks, or something. We agree that we don't take unnecessary risks. And that could apply to a lot of things, like, I don't know, lending friends money. That's an unnecessary risk, like you can, but use that as a teaching opportunity. And then you just say, that behavior is dangerous. And we have a family agreement that we're not going to do dangerous things. So the first line of action is bring it to their attention, bring it to something they've already agreed to. And that serves as almost like a reminder. Okay, earth to middle child, focus on what you're doing here. Let's get your frontal cortex engaged. If it happens again or continues, then you have a conversation either with yourself, if you're a single parent, or with your parenting partner, and say, okay, he's not getting it or she's not getting it. What do we need to put in place? Now we're talking consequences, and the most powerful consequences are ones that you wait to deliver. So if you try to give a consequence in the moment, now you're just fighting. Oh yeah, well, you're going to do this. Well, I don't care. And then you're in a power struggle. But at dinner, when middle child says, hey, after dinner, I'm going to run up to Jim Bob's house. And then you go, oh, no, that's actually not possible. You're so calm. And then your middle child is going to be like, what do you mean? I always go to that. Say, well, not tonight. You disobeyed us. You didn't do whatever. So instead of going to your friend's house and having a good time, you're going to help me organize the underneath the sink. I need some help. And so there's a consequence, but it's not like, in your face and power struggle. And it's more meaningful because he's calm. His frontal cortex is more engaged. It's little right now, but you know what I mean? Everybody's calmer. Oh my God. LM, can I love this person? Says, I have had success asking them what they think might be a good consequence. Let me tell you, LM, tell me if this is true or not. They give a much bigger consequence to themselves than you would ever give to them. Is that your experience? You're welcome, V. I think that, yeah, absolutely. And you're like, oh my God, chill on yourself, girl. You're not grounded for 2 months. We're just going to have this conversation. I'm not going to lecture you. And I'm not going to say I'm disappointed because then that'll make you feel guilty. Well, let's be realistic about what happened, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so good. But I do like that. I do like that method. Thank you, LM.
And one of the things that we are seeing, we recently asked kids, why are you choosing to stay away from alcohol and other drugs? And put it in a more positive way. And I will tell you guys, a large majority of them are saying, we're not done with collecting the information yet, but they're saying, parents, y'all are the anti-drug.
Honestly.
Parents are the biggest influence over so much stuff. But I love this idea of having the mission for the family, Susan. Mm-hmm. That is wonderful.
Yeah. I mean, y'all, it's kind of simple in a way, but I mean, it's not necessarily easy. I mean, I just really wanted to be honest about that. It's when I had it with my husband, he's stepdad to my kids, we had a conversation in the car on the way up to Raleigh. And I was like, we're going to do this because I know how to do this and we're going to do this. And boy, some of his answers, I was like, I didn't know you felt like that. Like some of them, I was like, don't cry, you know, but it was good because it was information I needed and it didn't necessarily feel really good. But then I became a much better partner because I knew that information and he's a nice person. So he wasn't mean about it, you know? So I just wanted to warn you. It's not like, oh, let's just check this box. It's actual work.
Well, and everybody, I want to just, okay, we're going to do something. We're going to go 12 step for a moment. Are there any burning desires for closure? Does anybody have a question? Does anybody have a question that they need to ask before we get off for the night? Y'all do have Susan's contact information. And if not, I'm going to ask everybody to remember we do have the parent chat coming up next Monday. But also to say to you guys, as you leave tonight, there are 3 questions on a quick and dirty survey at the end. Y'all know how I am about surveys, but it really makes a difference to us. If you get what you want, we need to know we need to keep doing something the same or changing it up. So if when we end tonight, you could please complete your survey. And I do want to thank everyone for taking time out of their busy life and joining us on one more Zoom. And please let us know what you would like to see us do in the future. And if you're not a member of the network, please join us. Or if you want to volunteer, please join us as a volunteer. And again, thank you so much, Susan. I always just love having you on with us and just love your energy. And thank you everyone for joining us. And with that, we're going to end on time and say good night.
Good night.